Elden Ring is quite an exceptional game. As I see it, this is from Software's showpiece. It's the game that the developers want you to remember, and Elden Ring is going to be remembered. Like it or not, this is the new champion. You may know the Souls type games as unnecessarily difficult, but there is a lot more to them than meets the eye. A Souls type game is a game where you die hundreds of times trying to defeat a single menacing boss. That's right, the appeal of the whole genre is torture. Is this a symptom of Stockholm Syndrome? Maybe, it sounds pretty damn close. Now, there is a lot of good that can be talked about in this game, but there is a good bit of bad that should be talked about too. The designs of bosses, reusing content under the guise of lore, and the lack of creativity in the UI system. The good part of the game is quite expected. Judging by the world design of Dark Souls games, Elden Ring's top tier world design was unsurprising. Nonetheless, I'm still impressed by the exploration in the game. There is no other game that is this much enjoyable when exploring. And I mean it. There is a cave with a sky, there is a flying temple with a clergyman on it. Turns out the clergyman is lying. Nothing surprising there. And the rewarding system for exploration is beyond excellent. I would have expected only the in-game items to be the reward, but this game goes way beyond that. If I see a massive castle in the distance, it's a location that I can go to. And that location leads to another massive adventure. So exploration is rewarded with more exploration. There is a huge map of places where you can go, and the methods of travel are very amusing. These should be highlighted. Traveling from one place to another gets boring pretty quickly, and some games try to break up that nature by making a single showy traveling method, like the Realm Travel Room in God of War. And other games try to focus on having multiple traveling methods, and Elden Ring happens to be one of them. There is a coffin that you have to ride so you can go underground. How creative is that? There are massive caverns, there are gigantic trees you can climb, and there are toxic lakes where you have to wade through while clinging on to your dear life. After I saw the size of the map, I was curious. I knew that there is no way any studio is going to have a budget that large. A budget large enough to cover a huge map with good content. I was wrong for the most part, but I was right for a good bit too. There are hundreds of types of enemies in the game, and they are there for a reason. You know, in most games the enemy types are different, but they all have the same lore, right? For example, the Hellwalkers in God of War. But in Elden Ring, they raise the bar on the enemy designs. You might see the Knight's Cavalry and think, oh, it's just another dude who is completely irrelevant to the game, right? But no, they do play a part in the lore. They are important and relevant to the storyline. And it's so nice to see that they made the story this consistent. Even though the story is branched out, the stem of the story is given a lot of attention. Many characters participate to the story, and all of them have significant contributions to the storyline. Most of the characters in Elden Ring aren't black and white. They have their own ideologies regarding the present situation. They have well-developed characters that consist of a wide range of opinions, and that is a feature I love. And they did make a masterpiece of a story, although you wouldn't understand the story while playing the game. That's the Souls type genre for you. The story was very immersive, and just like the previous Souls type games, the story shines brighter than the rest of the game. I would describe the story as a medieval folktale. Usually these stories are pretty dark, right? Take the Pied Piper for instance. It's a story about a middle-aged man luring kids into a forest. How is that still accepted as a children's story? Anyways, this story also has very emotional parts. Like you have to kill your loyal wolf. It was emotional. I felt like a PETA agent that day. Another great aspect of the Souls type genre is the art style. So in a Souls type game, the world is a dark fantasy. And that means most of the time the skies are grey, the enemies are beyond disgusting, and the world is cruel. That specific theme dramatically lowers the effects of computer graphics. Just because you have photorealistic quality inside a 15th century toilet doesn't mean it's beautiful, right? And because of that, the art style of the Souls type genre has to be given a lot of focus. And that results in locations like this, and also this. And that's why Elden Ring has state-of-the-art graphics. Even though the colors aren't bright and luxurious like in Hollow Knight, they are adequately used, and that's enough to get my jaw dropped. The art style doesn't end there. There are lots and lots of armor sets and weapons in the game, and they do look fantastic. Since the first step of being cool is to look cool, you should really look into these magnificent armor sets. Weapons also should be highlighted. Elden Ring has one of the largest arsenals in a game. It has nearly 300 weapons, including the boss's own weapons. So that's pretty cool. And now, for the bad parts in Elden Ring. Yes, every game has rotten parts. And just because it has bad parts doesn't mean it isn't a masterpiece. Is Elden Ring a masterpiece then? Afraid not. There are some aspects of Elden Ring that make my mouth foam. It's because From Software forgot a lot of things that they mastered. The bosses. Everybody knows From Software because of it. They made fighting a boss enjoyable. They mastered making a boss when they made Bloodborne. And in Sekiro they continued their signature bosses while they mastered the combat system. And in Elden Ring, they didn't really care about any of that. They focused on creating many methods so players can easily tackle a boss. But they forgot to make the boss fights enjoyable. They are way more aggressive, and the lands between definitely had a circus because some bosses are acrobats. There's a wolf who thinks that the floor is lava, and there's a general who thinks that he is a meteorite. And I'm gonna be honest, from the start of that final battle until the end of it, it's so underwhelming. That final battle was getting worse by the second. Radagon is one of the worst bosses. He is not predictable at all. Radagon's moveset is very unrewarding, and honestly, the more I tried to study his moves, the more confused I got. It seems that you have to rely on your reaction speed instead of tactics. The entrance of the Elden Beast was kinda good, but that fight was even worse than Radagon. It seems to be a game of tag at that point. And the final cutscene doesn't even have a lot of weight to it. It could have been better. Overall, the final experience was not good. It was broken and incomplete. Sure, this unrewarding nature is acceptable when used sparingly. Like, I don't care if Melania does a shadow clone jutsu or if she does a waterfowl dance. According to Elden Ring, she is the best warrior as of now. If she is represented as the best in the storyline, she may as well be made such. I don't care if she is unrewarding because she is supposed to be unnatural. But if the developers do the same thing to nearly every boss in the game, it's not acceptable. The core of the game should be using your brain to figure out and defeat the boss. And if that formula is betrayed for a long while, then you have a badly designed Souls game. Some of you might say that this is not the intention of Elden Ring. Well, this formula is just a summarization of what Mr. Miyazaki himself said. He says that he doesn't want the difficulty to be the main focus of the game. Instead, he wants the players to use their brains to figure out the challenge, and he doesn't want the players to feel unfairly punished. Let's forget the bad boss designs for a moment and let's focus on the good ones. We have Godfrey, who has a very different second phase which is awesome, and we have Morgoth, who is a great introduction to the game, and then we have Godric, who is also excellent in design. Now these are great bosses. A little bit different from the normal bosses, but very enjoyable. But they somehow had to ruin it. If you played the whole game, there are 33 bosses that you are going to encounter. Out of these 33 bosses, only 9 of them are not reused. That means the rest of the 24 bosses will be repeated in the game. Not only is it cheap to do so, it ruins the fun I had when I first defeated the boss. It makes the first fight insignificant. I didn't memorize a boss just so I can beat it every time I see it, and they use bits and pieces of lore to make these reused bosses matter. It worked when it was done on Morgoth. It genuinely feels like a rematch, but when overused, it becomes annoying. If the game doesn't clarify what's happening when important characters are reused, these characters lose their significance, making them just another enemy. Again, it's acceptable that Morgoth is reused. The game clearly shows that Morgoth wanted a rematch since he's a sore loser, but the rest of the reused content feels cheap. It would have been way better if there was nothing instead. And about the UX UI designs in the game. These features are bland. That means throughout the 7 games From Software made, there is not much difference in the UI. Yes, in Sekiro there is a lot more improvement, but as for the others, not so much. I expected something new and unique. And the skill tree or the attribution system or the stat system also could have been different. It's not the generic by the book skill tree, but it's so boring. It's just not dynamic enough. It's so confusing. This should be enjoyable and interesting. There should be more knowledge about this. There should be more immersion to this. Skyrim had a better skill system than this. Just because the game is depressing doesn't mean the UX should be too. It should have something that is themed around dark fantasy. If you had legendary art style when designing the whole world, there is no excuse to ignore the UX. I feel like this is something players ignore because in reality UX UI doesn't really matter in gameplay. Sure, it's not the focus of the game and it won't really add a lot to the game. But itsy bitsy features like this is actually where you can make a significant difference to the game. It shows that every part of the game has been cared about. It's not that the UI is bad, it's acceptable, but it feels so odd compared to the other features that the game has offered. In my opinion, you have to remove the boss bar or any health bars throughout the game. And the whole attribution system, also known as a skill tree, should be reworked. The map is also very generic. Could have gone with something way better. And you don't need to press any button phrase on the start screen. It's okay if it's there for the first time you start the game, other than that it's just annoying. And as for the third person camera in Elden Ring, this is the worst camera I have seen in a long time. But there is something I should appreciate from Software 4. The HUD disappears completely when exploring. Whoever implemented that feature should get a raise. From Software has done a lot of things to make this game a top tier game. It's no masterpiece, but it's very close. It's flawed at many places. Places that From Software itself has mastered. The experience is truly amazing. It's the best game when it comes to exploring, but it has never offered me something truly unique. Most players who play the Dark Souls series compare Elden Ring to Dark Souls 4. And that proves my point. I can't blame From Software for not making something unique because they are the pioneers in the Souls type genre that they invented. All in all, Elden Ring is well worth the time and definitely is something amazing. Is it a game of the year amazing? Well, we have to see what Santa Monica Studios have to offer. Overall, the rating that I give Elden Ring is a majestic 8 out of 10. It's a mighty fine game and definitely is a must-have experience.